Welcome back to Biomes. This time we are talking about Svalbard. Svalbard is this batch of islands up right near the Arctic Circle. It is owned by Norway, but it isn't particularly close to it, admittedly. Now, Svalbard has featured in multiple fiction works, including the Golden Compass in the His Dark Materials series, as well as the White Vault, kind of horror sci-fi podcast that I'm a fan of. Just let you know, go check those out. And it is also quite northern. It is very near the Arctic Circle, so that means it is very cold, with some winter temperatures reaching below -20 Celsius. And it is very dark or very light. Instead of having a regular day-night cycle where it's dark during the night and light during the day, it kind of goes by months, and the polar night, where it is just dark all the time, lasts for a couple months, and then it switches to the daytime, kind of, where it is light for months at a time. And since it is rather cold, a lot of the islands are covered by glaciers as well as permafrost, so it is kind of an uninviting place to live. However, despite that, there is quite a lot of plant and animal life. Most plants on Svalbard are very hardy and cold resistant, and they don't have a very long growing period because there's not a very long growing period available. But some plants include things like the Arctic mountain sorrel, some bell heathers, and the Svalbard poppy, which is native but not endemic to the island. There's very few tree species, and most of the plant life is mosses, lichens, and very hardy grasses and some shrubs. And that's pretty fine because there's not that many things on Svalbard that actually are there to eat the plants. There is the Svalbard reindeer or Svalbard caribou, which is a subspecies of regular reindeer or caribou that is endemic to the island. And there's also a decent population of the adorable Arctic foxes that can be found there. And the islands are rather famous for their polar bears. That's one of the main tourist sightings. People go there specifically to see the polar bears. And there is a ton of other marine life and marine mammals like walruses, and many seal species such as this guy, the bearded seal, and a ton of different cetaceans such as beluga whales and narwhals, larger whales such as humpback whales and blue whales, and members of the dolphin family including orcas and pilot whales. So there really is a whole lot going on in the water. And not just seawater. Many of the freshwater lakes on Svalbard are populated by the Arctic char, which I did not know were that big. They're massive fish. Now, the main animals that make up most of the biodiversity on Svalbard are the birds. Now, most of them are seabirds and most of them are migratory, and there's a ton of gull species like the black-legged kittiwake, some auk species such as the little auk and the razorbill. The Atlantic puffin can be seen there quite often, and so can the Svalbard rock ptarmigan, which is a subspecies of rock ptarmigan found on Svalbard. There's not a whole lot of birds of prey species, however you can find the gerfalcon. And there are many species of geese, as well as other shorebirds like sandpipers. So, despite Svalbard being rather inhospitable and not a super fun place to live, there is quite a lot of biodiversity, so much so that a large portion of the island is protected, and there are multiple national parks that are on the island as well. It is a decently popular tourist destination for people who want something a little bit more extreme, a little bit colder, and less vacation-y, but tourists still do go there to see the northern lights, to see the animals, go whale watching. It's a very important area for polar bears and seabirds and all of that, so it is just a very interesting place, and I would like to visit there someday.